The Legend of Zelda series is no stranger to introducing dark, mysterious relics, from the lens that reveals hidden truths in Ocarina of Time to the enchanted mirror that links the world of Hyrule to a realm of Twilight. These otherworldly artifacts echo with whispers of ancient civilizations, forbidden magic, and purposes far beyond our understanding, yet none are as deeply unsettling or strange as Majora's mask, an accursed object of unimaginable power said to have been used in ancient hexing rituals by a tribe long forgotten. A mask so dangerous, so malevolent, that its creators sealed it away in shadow, never to be used again. But this raises some questions. Where did Majora's mask come from? Who were the dark sorcerers behind its creation? And why does it hold such destructive power? To find the answers we seek, we first must return to the moment it all began, when a forgotten evil, sealed away in shadow, was awakened once more. Majora's Mask is introduced near the beginning of the Hero of Time's latest adventure, a journey that unfolds mere months after the events of Ocarina of Time in what we know as the Child Timeline. As Link wanders the Lost Woods in search of his missing companion, Navi, he's ambushed by a mischievous Skull Kid, wearing a haunting tribal mask that radiates a sinister, demonic aura. The imp then knocks Link unconscious and steals his Ocarina of Time. When he awakes, Link gives chase, but the Skull Kid escapes on Epona, dragging the Hero of Time through the twisted forest paths. But eventually, Link is thrown off. He ventures further into the darkened woods, accidentally falling into a seemingly endless void, unaware of the terrible fate that awaits him. After what feels like an eternal descent, Link lands in a strange chamber, confronted by the Skull Kid once more. There, the malicious imp uses the cursed power of Majora's Mask to hex him, transforming him into a Deku scrub. Horrified by his new form, Link tries to pursue the Skull Kid, but is stopped by Tattle, one of his fairies. However, in the chaos, Tattle is left behind, and with no other choice, she reluctantly teams up with the Hero of Time, helping him navigate this dark, twisted chasm. Together, they emerge into the land of Termina, a mysterious, parallel world shaped by its own distinct culture, where familiar faces bear unfamiliar names. A world born from the cursed power of Majora's Mask, formed by the Skull Kid's distorted view of the Hyrule we once knew. A living, tortured world where the moon is falling. Majora's Mask is the central force behind the impending destruction of Termina, yet surprisingly, little is known about its origin. In the game, the only lore we receive about the mask comes from a single, enigmatic figure, the Happy Mask Salesman, a peculiar travelling merchant who once carried Majora's Mask until it was stolen by the Skull Kid. At a glance, he appears to be cheerful and eccentric, but when angered, a far more unhinged, volatile side emerges, hinting at a darker, more complex nature beneath his cheerful, endless smile. Soon after Link reclaims the Ocarina of Time, he travels back to his first day in Termina. Here, the masked salesman teaches him the Song of Healing, allowing the hero to return to his Hylian form. Shortly after this, the masked salesman realized his precious mask had not been recovered. This realization leads to a tense confrontation, where he warns of a terrible fate that will befall Termina if the dangerous relic remains lost. It is then, in his frantic state, that he tells us its story. At some point during his travels, the masked salesman went to great lengths to procure a strange, accursed mask once used by an ancient tribe in forbidden hexing rituals. A mask containing an evil, wicked power that it bestows upon its wearer. According to legend, the mask's power was so dangerous that the tribe sealed it in shadow, in fear of its misuse and its demonic potential unleashed. But by the time the masked salesman discovered it, the ancient tribe had long vanished. With them, the truth of the mask's power, though its dark energy can still be sensed. The doom of a dark omen brewing shrouds the artifact, waiting for its eventual reawakening. This unsettling tale is all we are ever told about the mask. No name for the tribe, no history, and no origin. Just a cryptic legend, whispered by a man who seems to know far more than he's letting on. But that leaves us with an even bigger question. Who was the ancient tribe that created Majora's Mask? One of the most widely discussed and perhaps most compelling theories surrounding the identity of this ancient tribe points to a dark, mysterious group briefly mentioned in Twilight Princess, the Dark Interlopers, a clan of powerful Hylian sorcerers said to have mastered a forbidden magic unlike anything the world had seen. Using this corrupt power, they sought to establish dominion over the sacred realm to gain control of the legendary Triforce, a power beyond comprehension, capable of granting any wish to its wielder. Over time, their twisted magic grew so potent, so dangerous, that it began to tip the scales of the world itself. In response to such a threat, the goddesses of Hyrule ordered the three spirits of light to seal away their dark magic, resulting in the creation of a powerful, mysterious artifact named the Fused Shadow, a physical manifestation of their vicious, destructive power. However, their punishment didn't end there. The Interlopers themselves were banished, cast into a parallel dimension through the mirror of Twilight. There, they became a race known as the Twilight, a group forever shaped by the sins of their ancestors. So, what does any of this have to do with Majora's Mask? Well, if we take a closer look at the Fused Shadow, it bears some striking similarities that are hard to ignore, notably in the eyes, sharing an almost exact design to that of Majora's Mask. This suggests that the Fused Shadow may be inspired, or possibly created, from the remnants of this cursed artifact. The similar design combined with their shared history tells us both were wielders of forbidden magic, and both were sealed away, eventually vanishing into the shadows of legend. It's no wonder many believe the Dark Interlopers and the tribe of Majora to be one and the same. But could it really be that simple? While their similar backstories are undeniable, a closer look at the Fused Shadow reveals a few visual inconsistencies, mainly in its structure, as the Fused Shadow is shaped like a helm, made from a rustic, metal-like material covered in labyrinthine engravings reminiscent of Zonai or Sheikah architecture, suggesting a more advanced, technological power influenced its design. Majora's Mask, on the other hand, looks primitive, tribal, as if it's carved from wood, plastered with bright contrasting colours, covered in dangerous knife-like spikes, emanating with the presence of a demon held within, almost as if it were alive. This difference in style suggests the Dark Interlopers and the ancient tribe could have been different groups altogether, with both wielding similar powers for very different reasons. But if this is the case, then who could bear the identity of the mystical group behind Majora's Mask's creation? Unfortunately, there are next to no hints throughout the entirety of the series regarding the identity of this ancient tribe, or how they created Majora's Mask. So, if the truth isn't hidden within the games themselves, then where else can we turn? Well, back in March 2001, a manga adaptation of Majora's Mask was released, a story written by Akira Himikawa, one that fortunately explores the origin of this accursed artifact. Now, while this manga is not canon to the games, it was officially licensed by Nintendo, meaning it may provide some extra insight into the origin of the mask. This story begins in an empty, timeless realm where a monstrous being called its home, a demon simply known as Majora. According to legend, this creature, cloaked in dragon-like armor, was said to grant any wish to those brave enough to confront it. But no matter how courageous or confident, every soul who came seeking their wish was devoured, until one day when a lone traveler arrived. A warrior who bore an uncanny resemblance to the fierce deity, a figure of unimaginable strength, said to possess abilities the same, if not greater, than Majora itself. Rather than raising his sword against the monster, he sat down and had a conversation with it. A conversation that made the monster feel uneasy, as the desires of all the people he'd eaten up until this point form a whirlpool inside him. Filled with regret, Majora asks the traveler for one thing: to make time flow. And so, the mysterious traveler took out a drum and played a song. The air within the land began to move. As the monster danced to this mystical tune, it became lost in its rhythm for 3 days and 3 nights. On the morning of the 4th day, the beast's armor was all that remained, and from those remains, the traveler carved a mask, a cursed artifact, now filled with the demon's lingering spirit, forever sealed within. This strange yet captivating interpretation paints Majora not just as a dark power, but as a living, breathing entity, a creature of bloodshed and sorrow, sealed away in a prison of its own shell, something dark, yet strangely poetic. While this story may not be canon, its themes of time, regret, and spirit sealed away echo deeply throughout the world of Majora's Mask. But the most intriguing part of this tale is the role of the fierce deity, a figure who, like Majora, is bound to a mask. His origins are unknown. The game offers us next to no lore, no history, and no explanation. All we know is what we are told when Link receives the mask, stating it emanates a tremendous, chaotic power, similar to that of Majora itself. This story raises the possibility that Majora's Mask was not forged by an ancient tribe of cryptic origin, but is maybe a prison, crafted by the fierce deity to seal away the soul of a vicious monster. Or was it? What if the true creator of Majora's Mask was right in front of us this entire time, a character equally mysterious as the mask itself? My personal theory is that the Happy Mask Salesman is far more connected to Majora's Mask's creation than we're led to believe. I think he's not just a collector and trader of masks, but perhaps a member of the ancient tribe itself. You might be wondering, how? Why? Well, the first thing you notice is his deep knowledge of Majora's Mask. He tells us its story is lost to legend, yet he knows exactly what it entails. He's aware of its dark origin, the ancient tribe that created it, and its monstrous abilities, almost as if he had first-hand experience with its evil power. This seems like knowledge only someone with direct involvement could possess. But it's not just his knowledge that raises questions. The Mask Salesman also exhibits strange, almost mythical abilities, like his unsettling power to vanish without a trace. This shows that he holds some sort of magical capabilities, maybe even the same as the ancient tribe itself. Then there's a song of healing, a melody that transforms tormented souls into the form of a mask, allowing its wearer to gain its characteristics. Isn't it strange that the Mask Salesman knows this song? If a demon lingers within the shell of Majora's Mask, couldn't it be possible that he or another tribe member sealed Majora away? Another link to the mask can be found in the 3DS version of the game, where we encounter the Moon Children, mysterious beings whose faces are covered by masks, each resembling major bosses fought throughout the game. Strangely, if you look beneath their mask, all their faces seem to share the same eerie characteristics as the Happy Mask Salesman. While this could be a simple design choice, it's undeniably a detail that ties him closer to the mask and its origins. After all, the Moon Children are directly linked to Majora and the twisted reality it brought to life, further cementing the possibility that the Mask Salesman has a deeper connection than we were led to believe. Of course, this is just a theory. There is no concrete evidence that directly ties the Happy Mask Salesman to the creation or sealing of Majora's Mask. However, it's certainly an intriguing possibility, especially when considering his mysterious background and abilities. So, where does this leave us? Were the creators of Majora's Mask the Dark Interlopers, banished for their profound use of magic? Or was Majora's Mask born from the very essence of a demon, bound to a mask by the mysterious, godlike fierce deity? Or could its true origin lie elsewhere entirely? A secret hidden behind the unsettling smile of a wandering mask salesman. The truth is, it's a mystery we may never solve. Like many of Zelda's ancient relics, there are no clear answers, only fragments, echoes of a forgotten past whispered across the land of legend. Maybe one day in the distant future, we will receive clarification regarding its origins, a deeper look into who this ancient tribe was, giving us as players a wider understanding of how or why this mysterious mask's power came to be. But one thing is for certain, Majora's Mask is no ordinary artifact. It's a vessel of malevolent power, chaos bound in physical form, waiting to be unleashed upon the realm once more. But what do you guys think? Could the ancient tribe be linked to the Dark Interlopers? Or is this cursed power born from something else entirely? Let me know your theories in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to see more Zelda content like this in the future, consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel. Anyway, that's all from me for today, so I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.